What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by BetOnline. Miami gets a heartbreaker tonight. A heartbreaker, Eric. Another buzzer beater win for your Portland Trail Blazers as they complete a miraculous comeback in Miami. Down 15 at one point, look dead in the water, and the Blazers fight. They come back. They hit a buzzer-beating three. Josh Hart gets a pass from Damian Lillard in the corner, knocks down the heartbreaker. 10 games in, we've already had two buzzer-beater threes by our two starting forwards. What in the world is going on? I am so freaking hyped right now. I'm looking forward to this post-game show, man. But first, we got sponsorship obligations. Shout out to our friends over on BetOnline. This was a 5-point Miami favorite spread. A lot of you guys in our picks against the spread segment were confident earlier in today in the Blazers being able to cover it. They did. You could have gotten in on the action, though, with 50% rewards. If you want to get 50% rewards, use the promo code BELIEVE over on BetOnline. Go and check them out. Thank you to them for presenting this post-game show. Anyway, Eric, a lot of people wanted your reaction to another buzzer beater.
Yeah, normally it would be RIP my family's sleep time, but thankfully this game started at 5:30, so it was only like 7:45 when all this happened, so I was going crazy. My youngest daughter was going to bed, but once she falls asleep, she's pretty much out. You can't really wake her up, so I was as loud as I wanted to be, and I'm sure it still made my wife mad, but it wasn't a situation where I woke anyone up today. But yeah, I might have to start just like having a full-time camera on me at the end of games if they're all going to be this crazy.
Oh, I know, dude. If we're going to have buzzer beaters like 1 out of every 5 games, yeah. I mean, this is the second win on this road trip by a buzzer beater. This is the most difficult road trip of the year. I said 2 and 4 would be okay. The Blazers are 2 and 1. They win one against Phoenix. The second one was kind of sucked, right? And then they win tonight against Miami. Tough teams, really good teams, and the Blazers look legitimate because they struggled in this game. They did not play a good game whatsoever, but they still managed to be there at the end no matter what. This team has a clutch gene, and it's not just Dame now, it's Ant, it's Jerami Grant. He hit a clutch 3. Josh Hart, apparently, who has just not even seemed interested in shooting, but I guess, Eric, maybe it's a little bit easier when you catch the ball with 1 second left and you have to shoot it. It's like,
right.
Okay, well,
you have no choice.
It's almost less pressure. And oh my goodness, that was I'm hyped. I'm hyped. So I was listening to this game, driving home. I had to take care of something, so I was listening to the radio. Travis Demers. Once I got off the freeway, it was like 2 minutes left. I pulled to the side of the road at the first safe spot and watched the end of this game. And I lost my mind like you did because I was alone in my car. Nobody could hear me, so it was easy to just absolutely lose my freaking mind. And then came home, had to put together that fire Josh Hart thumbnail. Absolute fire. I didn't even feel like putting a Miami Heat player in it. I put 2 Josh Harts because he deserved it after that buzzer beater. But yeah, so I took a little time making that thumbnail because it was just so perfect. The Heat. It's easy to do flames with a Heat thumbnail, right? It's fitting. The Blazers and the Heat. Flames. Josh Hart was flames on that final possession. We're going to break down this entire game. We're going to get your guys' reaction. You guys in chat, I see you guys loving it. And I'm still coming down off this high right now, man. I'm still riding this.
I'd have no problem doing the gritty for you guys, but I don't even know how to do the gritty. So I mean, I know what it is, but like, I can't really do it. So
we need to do a video. We need to find Greg Brown and have him teach you how to do the gritty.
Yeah. Someone hit him up and asked that. Tell him he needs to teach me.
Yeah, and if you guys doubt that I lost my mind in my car, I don't know if my voice sounds slightly different, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Well, like, this game was one of the more annoying games of the year for 3 quarters. We talked about this a few hours ago, how we cannot be sluggish and throw lazy passes across court against this Heat team. And what did we do in the third quarter? We just first we had 13 turnovers in the first half. And then we're like, okay, maybe Chauncey will light a fire on them at halftime and they'll come out and they'll be a little more aggressive and won't have these dumb mistakes. And we literally just threw the ball to Jimmy Butler like 6 times in a row and he just went down and dunked. Like, it was just like, what are we doing? Like, are we just I was like, someone point shaming here, or like what is going on? We get down 15. We don't really like ever seem like we're back in the game, and then all of a sudden we're like tied, and like I don't even know what happened other than the Heat just started like going cold, and we made a few shots. Thank goodness we had Ant back tonight and Dame, and yeah, it's just, it's crazy, man.
It felt like we did
win this game.
I know, it felt like we did nothing right in this game. Before the game, I was like, okay, I'm looking for the Blazers to have 15 or less turnovers. They almost had 15 in the first half, 19 on the game. Okay, fail, right? I said I was looking for them to out-rebound the Heat on the offensive end. It was 4-5 somehow, like no offensive rebounds, but they didn't achieve that. They out-rebounded them in general 37-32. I look at offensive rebounds more. They didn't achieve that. I was looking for them to outscore the Heat in the paint, and it was closer than the first matchup, 38-40. I'll throw the team stats up in a bit. I gotta make them. Chris wasn't able to be on graphics tonight. Unfortunately, he's feeling under the weather, so hopefully he gets well soon. But they didn't achieve the points of the paint thing either. I wanted them to get at least 20 fast break points. They got 13. They were sloppy as hell.
They gave up a ton of fast break points.
They gave up a ton of fast break points to the Heat. It felt like 16 only on. It felt like more than that. Secondary transition, more so. I don't know if that counts as fast break points, but regardless, in the end, Eric, this was a game where I felt like the Blazers played terribly against a team that almost made the finals last year. Yes, they didn't have Tyler Hero, but you know, it is still a really good Heat team on the road in Miami. And the Blazers played terrible, and we're hyped right now. What in the world? This is the type of game the Blazers would lose this game by 20 in previous years playing like this. Somehow, dude, they just managed to be there. 37 points in the fourth quarter behind some hot shooting. I mean, at what point is it just, okay, this team just has a clutch gene and you should never ever count them out because they got guys that'll step up in big moments? Jerami Grant in 4 separate games has had a clutch go-ahead bucket in the final minute. Right? Unless that 3 was with a little bit more than a minute left. But regardless, last couple of minutes, 4 different games where he's had a clutch go-ahead bucket. That's almost one out of every 2 games he has a clutch go-ahead bucket. Dame's obviously clutch. Ant's had some clutch moments. He was clutch tonight too. And then Josh Hart out of nowhere. We've been begging for him to shoot more and be more confident offensively. And in this game, he almost had a triple-double. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, but he has 5 turnovers. There was moments where he looked horrible, where he looked like he wasn't even looking for his own shot. And then there was times where he just had terrible turnovers. And then, of course, it's like Dame gets doubled, bringing the ball up the court, and he just kicks to Josh Hart in the quarter, and he's like turning as he catches it, so it's already a difficult 3. And it's like when he caught that ball, I had like an instantaneous thought run through my head, like, of course, like it would be hilarious if he hits this after this entire game. Like that's kind of the feeling I had when he shot that shot, and then of course it goes in. So, is this just a DNA thing with this team?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, never really feeling the pressure of a clutch situation. They have several guys. And what's crazy is, that's our 3rd game winner now, and none of them are Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. So, like, I mean, just think if, like, teams can't stop all 4 people, right? Like they got to guard someone. And so, I mean, yeah, it's great to have this where you now have 4 different players who have shown throughout their careers that they can do something like this, and yeah, it's a wonderful feeling. And yeah, I do believe that there are players who wilt under that pressure or can rise to the occasion of that pressure. Jerami Grant so far has shown this year that down 2 minute left, like it doesn't face him. He was ready to catch. He's got that catch and release super high motion all in one move. Like it's hard to like even contest that even if you have a good closeout on him. And yeah, so Dame with a great cross court pass there at the end. And yeah, and then Dame I was like, what is Winslow doing? Because we didn't have a timeout.
Yeah.
And Winslow grabs the ball. I thought he was going to get called for 5 seconds, and we were going to lose because they got the ball back and had 4 seconds left or whatever.
Well, okay. Well, didn't on the graphic it said we had a timeout? Because he started doing that. I was like, I thought we didn't have a timeout based on what the broadcast said, and then I looked at the graphic and it showed a timeout.
We had 1 timeout left at the challenge.
Yeah. So the graphic was wrong.
we got it back, but then we couldn't get the ball inbounds right after that, so we had to use the last timeout. So yeah, the graphic must have been wrong.
Yeah, so I was so confused.
That, but he grabs the ball, starts walking towards the sideline like there's a timeout, or like looking over there. I was like, oh crap, we don't have a timeout. Goes to like, I'm like, no, go, like, do not get a 5-second call here. And then Dame catches it like on the other team's baseline with like, what was it, 6 seconds left or something. Like, you don't have time to like goof around and slow the ball up. And then finally he's like, okay, let me kick this into gear. And it ended up working out really well because it confused the Heat too, I think. Like, why are we going so slow? And then he turns on the Jets, right? But so it all works out in the end. Somehow this like cluster F of a game turns into a win for the Blazers, and I couldn't be happier.
Eric, you know what this team reminds me of? All right, not to sit here on a basketball stream talking about baseball, but this team is starting to remind me of my Seattle Mariners from this past year. The slogan was "Embrace the Chaos," because it was just like their games would end up being chaos. Absolutely chaotic, and they would win a bunch of one-run games with very clutch moments. Dude, does that not describe this Blazer team? Like, that last play was basically just embrace the chaos. We don't know what's happening, whether Justise Winslow, whatever the hell he was doing, and then inbounds to Dame, and he's just full court sprinting into the entire defense, and then it's Josh Hart popping out for a quarter three. Like, this was the type of game where it's just absolutely embrace the chaos. And the Blazers play in a little bit of a chaotic way, all the turnovers, but constantly attacking the paint. And Dame and Ant can hit crazily insane threes, and they're switching up the defense, and it's just the Blazers play a chaotic game. But sometimes you gotta embrace the chaos, especially if you can clutch up in those moments. If because that's the thing, during the final minutes of a game, it gets a little bit chaotic. In the tension is higher. Guys are playing faster because it's the adrenaline. It's the end of a game. Your heart speeds up. And some teams handle that well and some teams don't. Some teams can thrive under that chaos. Some teams melt, right? And that's going back to my question about, could this be a DNA thing? This Blazers team embraces the chaos, man. I mean, that was such a chaotic final play, and so many chaotic clutch moments in general so far this season. And in previous years, it was, okay, well, we're going to live and die by Damian Lillard. And now it's like, okay, we're going to live and die by everyone but Damian Lillard.
Yeah, for sure. And, dude, the Heat are a tough team to come back when you're down 15 against, because they play so physical and they don't let you get a lot of good shots, and they can work the shot clock on offense and get a good shot off. So that was no small feat, coming back from down 15 in the second half and winning this game. That was impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me catch up on donos. There's a bunch of them. Shout out Jackson Burgess, $5 Australian dono. Says, I love this squad. We are clutch. We do not lose close games. Well, I'll take 4 out of 5 in close games. That's pretty much where we're at right now. Every game has been close except for that game against the Phoenix Suns on the road, the previous game where we didn't have our dudes. Every other game, no matter how bad they've played, they've managed to either fight their way back or win, right? Memphis fought their way back. Miami, that was kind of fluky. Like, they had a lead in the third quarter, the Miami game at home, but then Dame got hurt, so, that's kind of a fluky game. Ended up being a blowout in the fourth quarter, but they were there in the third, and then Memphis, they came back and tied it and just couldn't get the plays in the final 2 minutes of that game, but they had a miraculous 15, 17-point comeback. Never write this Blazer team off. Ever. They know how to win close games, and they don't quit, and they come from behind, and they're clutch, as Jackson said.
I was so frustrated in the first half, though, because it felt like they were playing in that last Phoenix game where they got blown out. It's exactly. Like, didn't you learn from that game that this team cannot do that? And like somehow they snap out of it and win the game. But like they did like everything you weren't supposed to do against this Heat team and still found a way to win. It's it's unlikely, but man, it makes this team so dangerous to where if they start playing the right way and reduce these turnovers, which are easily fixable, like, man, this team is going to be very, very tough to beat.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you to Hassan with the $20 donation. He says, "Woot, woot,
Thanks,
just
Hassan.
woot. I love it."
Woot, there it is.
Yes, sir. Hassan, thank you for the $20 dono, man. That's huge. Appreciate the support. Shout out Caleb Pendergraph, $10 donation. Says, not a fan of another slow start that has us again behind by the end of the first quarter, but it's so damn nice to have a team with so much heart and fight after last season. Dude, this is the opposite of last season. The first half in this game was like the first half of many road games to start last season. The second half, completely opposite. The complete opposite.
Yeah, well, we got off, I think we're up like 8-2 or something, and then we give up, like, I think they scored like 9 or 12 straight points, and we found, but the beginning of this game, I was like, oh yeah, we got our guys back, and it's looking good, and then they just completely melted down and couldn't find anything on offense, any kind of rhythm or anything. So I was encouraged that the first few minutes of this game were looking good, but yeah, they have to find a way to like figure out what's going on in the first quarter, because like I said, if you can find a way to do what they're doing throughout the game, but also get off to a good start and jump on teams in the first quarter, maybe build a 10-point lead instead of always falling down double digits, like this team's ceiling could be so much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out Ellis Ransdell. $2 donation says, what a win, great comeback. Thank you, Ellis. Shout out Brian Tadovich, $5 donation, says, I love how Dame is believing in his teammates. Felt like a couple years ago he'd pull up from the logo. Chauncey is a perfect mentor for Dame. Let's go. Yeah, you think Dame is throwing that ball to Evan Turner or Al-Farouq Aminu or Mo Harkless?
Well, what game was, I think it was against the Warriors, one of the games or something, where we did kick out to Evan Turner for a three and he missed it at the buzzer.
Yeah.
I forget what game that was, but...
You know, yeah, but he trusts Josh, and Josh came through for him, man, and hopefully that's a confidence builder for Josh too. We'll talk about that in a bit. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $5 donation, says, I'm calling it now. Next game is going to have a logo Nurkic 3 for the win. Book it. I mean, at this point, I can't rule that out, man.
He did hit a clutch 3 against Phoenix. But...
that needs to be a goal this season. Every starter hits a buzzer beater, all right? Since these games are just going to be chaotically close, it's just bound to happen, it seems like. All right, every starter needs to hit a buzzer beater 3. I think Ant's time is coming. Let's get Nurkic for 3, and then Dame. You know, we don't have to worry about Dame getting a clutch 3 or a game-winning 3. So, yeah, that's the goal this year. We've completed 2 out of 5 and have 72 games left to go. Thank you, Kyle, for the $5 donation. Shout out Cuddy Soup, Eric. $2 donation says, crowd starts showing up, Heat start blowing it. That was funny. Yeah, that's a good point. Because that crowd was kind of chilling, you know.
It was
Can't
like
blame
an
them.
8:30 start. Why weren't they there?
Yeah, true. But, you know, it's like on the water.
It should have told them all it started at 7 like a normal game. They would have been there on time.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to John Mullis, starter level member. Thank you for becoming a starter level member. Shout ads. $5 donation says, if Hart's shot gives him the boost to shoot and make more threes, does Simons get relief from taking as many threes as he does per game? Grant Cooking too. Yeah, I mean, with Ant, it's just take the quality threes, you know, and then sometimes he has to force tough looks. But if Hart is able to shoot more threes, knock down a higher quantity of threes, it just spaces the floor more. Because Hart gets the ball kicked out to him a lot, and he'll be open, and he'll hesitate. And then a guy will finally fully close all the way out, and Josh Hart will then try and drive or make a pass. But it's easy to help off a guy that doesn't just catch and shoot. He hesitates because you have more time to close back out, so you're able to extend your help side defense more off of him. That's the thing with Josh Hart that's been frustrating, is he has the ability to be that type of floor spacer, but he just hasn't seemed confident in his shot this year. So I'm hoping this gets him going. Because, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, he was one of the better corner and three-point shooters in the league last year. So maybe try to get him involved with some kickouts to the corner, maybe. I don't know. But you definitely got to hope that this helps his confidence.
Yeah, it's just the Josh Hart thing is weird, because going into this game, he was shooting 42% from 3. It's not even like he's shooting the 3 ball poorly. He's just not shooting it. He's shooting a career low 1.3 attempts per game in a career high 36 minutes per game. The next closest career low was 3.1 threes per game his rookie year. He only played 23 minutes. So he's played 36 minutes, barely shooting more than one a game, but he's shooting 42%. So it's just like mentally he needs to just shoot more threes. I know the emphasis is attack the paint, but you got to take the open ones. You got to take the ones that are there. And he is a capable shooter. He is a capable shooter. So I saw a lot of people during this game talking about, oh, it's time to start Nas, or, frustrated with Josh Hart being too passive and whatnot. But Josh Hart tonight, Eric, 37 minutes, 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, 5 for 7 from the free throw line, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. He did have a team-high 5 turnovers, and a couple of them were really bad turnovers, which led to some of the frustrations from fans with him. But in his 37 minutes, he was a team-high plus... Or no, it wasn't a team-high. It was close. But in his 37 minutes, he was a plus 13. He played good defense in this game. He had a lot of good passes in this game, made some really good plays, and then the turnovers were kind of killer at times. But outside of the turnovers, there's really nothing he didn't do well in this game, outside of maybe he should have been more aggressive in certain spots, or make a kick-out pass here on a drive, or, outside of just being too passive or not confident enough in his own scoring ability and then the turnovers, he had a really good game. And he was a big part before that shot in the Blazers being in this game. I understand the frustrations. I was getting frustrated too, because he's having too many boneheaded turnovers that he doesn't normally have, but he's still one of the best playmaking starting threes in the league, one of the best rebounding starting threes in the league, and he's capable as a slasher and a shooter.
Yep, and thankfully, want to give a shout out to Gabe Vincent, who was having a great game until he fouled Josh Hart on a heave at the end of the third quarter, and Josh only made 2 out of the 3, but that was
a huge play. A
key play in this, getting down to single digits heading into the fourth quarter instead of being down 10. And what was he thinking, man? That was such a dumb move by him to foul a 3-point shooter at the buzzer like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to thank the last 4 donos, starting with Michael V?
Let me see. Okay. Michael V with a $2 donation. Thank you, Michael. Game winners from Wame, Women's, Jerami, and Wash. I think you mean Wyman's, not Women's, but yeah. Yep, game winners all around. Energy Warning with a $1 donation. Thank you very much, Energy Warning. I don't think you can leave a message for $1.
Not with the $1, but still, we appreciate it.
And then we got a Drono for $2. Hart doesn't need to shoot with Dame and Ant. Yeah, it's a good point that he doesn't necessarily have to. However, we just played 2 games without those 2, and he still didn't shoot much. So, I understand if we're at full strength, him not having to do as much. Maybe he wants to be more of a facilitator and things like that. We came out at the beginning of this game trying to play Ant and Dame both off ball a little bit more, with Hart bringing the ball up. And I like that attitude, but that doesn't explain the last 2 games in Phoenix why he didn't shoot much when we needed him to shoulder more of the scoring burden with those 2 out of the lineup.
Absolutely, and him just shooting the catch-and-shoot 3 more often will help create space for Dame and Ant. So, yeah, you want Dame and Ant taking their shots and Jerami Grant, of course, but, with Josh Hart out there on the floor, you want him to make it as easy as possible for those guys to be able to get high-quality shots, and creating space for those guys by being a threat from the three-point line will help them out. They'll have more space to attack, and then you can hold teams accountable for when they send a bunch of help towards Dame or Ant if you have a guy that's knocking down that catch-and-shoot 3. So it goes hand in hand with those guys being effective scorers, and then also you're able to make defenses pay for trying to take that away, and you can help make it easier. So that's the thing with Josh Hart. He just needs to shoot the open catch-and-shoot 3 because he's shot the ball fine. It just doesn't make sense. He's a 40% three-point shooter on the season. Shoot more threes.
Yeah, for sure. And then Carjay with a $2 donation. How do you feel about Trendon Watford?
I don't like him at the 4 next to Eubanks.
Yeah, I don't like them together. I felt like Watford had some rough minutes initially, but then once he settled down, I thought he was actually pretty good in this game, especially running around on defense. He's actually uh, been one of the. He hasn't played. I mean, that's only 2 games, but in the 2 games he's played so far in our zone defense, he's actually one of the guys who rotates and moves around. Probably one of the better on the team at that. So yeah, I don't really have a problem with anything Watford does, and it's going to take a little bit of game action for him to get back up to speed anyway.
Yeah, the spacing has been rough at times with certain units. If you have Watford at the 4 and then Eubanks at the 5, that's 2 guys that don't shoot the 3 ball. Like, I know Watford took a 3 in this game, but he missed it. He hasn't established himself as a consistent 3-point shooting threat yet. So then if you also have like a inconsistent shooter like a Nas out there, or somebody like Josh Hart who's not looking to shoot many threes, or Justice Winslow, the spacing can get really, really rough. So I would rather play Watford at the 5 because he's more of a matchup issue. And like Dwayne Dedman was their backup center today. I'm not worried with Trendon Watford being able to play big enough to handle Dwayne Dedman.
Yeah, and once again, what are we doing with that lineup with Eubanks and Watford when we're down 12? Like, if we would have lost this game and never came back, we're kind of lucky we did, because I would have pointed to what are we doing once again, down double digits and putting like some of our least ability to shoot and score players on the floor. Like, go small and run. That's what I was begging for. I told you all last game that was frustrating to me, that we're down double digits to Phoenix and we kept going to Eubanks. It's like, we're not going to make enough baskets to get back in the game. And so what does Chauncey do? He goes small at the end. He even took out Nurkic a few minutes into the fourth quarter and went with Winslow and the starters for the rest of the game. And I think it really worked. And being able to go back and forth and switch. And one of the more, it's always crazy to me because we always talk about how we hate switching a lot of times, right? And in the fourth quarter of this game, we switched almost every time and had Dame or Ant guarding Jimmy Butler, and he'd go down in the post. But this is the same thing that happens sometimes when you play against a good big man like Joel Embiid, is when their offense is just throw the ball down to Jimmy and let him go to work, then the other players don't touch the ball for several possessions, or they're not really ready for a 3-pointer, or Jimmy's getting baskets, or maybe he scores, maybe he doesn't. But like, it's taking them out of the flow of their normal ball movement oriented offense. So I thought, even though we were switching those and giving into that mismatch, I think that was a good strategy, because that was pretty much all their offense in the fourth quarter, was just trying to get that mismatch on Jimmy and letting him go to work. And he scored enough to possibly win this game if they make just one more play, but it didn't lead to them like going on any kind of run or hitting like in the first half, when they hit 3 threes in a row and we're all of a sudden down 9 points, instead of tie the game or whatever. Like, that was a good strategy in this case, even though it seems like a terrible strategy to put Ants on Jimmy Butler or whatever. It worked out here because we went small and we had guys who could switch and rotate, and they were quick enough to help. And the rebounding really didn't cost us too much because we're not rebounding well with Eubanks either, so it really didn't matter.
I thought the Blazers' help side defense was solid. Maybe even good in this game. They had trouble containing Miami on the perimeter multiple times, and then they did have some breakdowns that led to like wide open dunks and whatnot. But overall, they did a solid job of rotating onto drives and cutting off drives. The problem is you got to be able to react to the kick out pass correctly. And too many times in this game, we had a a defender running out at a shooter and just biting on any pump fake and then not even trying to recover, and it ended up being open threes. Like Dame did it, Nas did it. It happened way too much in this game on closeouts. Like I thought our closeouts were awful. Anfernee Simons had a closeout in this game where he just overran somebody and didn't even seem to really try and stay in front of him. So the closeouts were bad and the perimeter stuff was bad, but I felt like on the interior our defense was better.
Yeah, since you listened to part of it on the radio, man, it was even worse. Like we had so many times where we just flew out and jumped at a pump fake, and then they just sidestepped and got a wide open three. It was horrible tonight, and that's something they definitely have to fix.
Yeah. I didn't listen. I watched most of the game, so I could tell. I could tell. Yeah. And that's one of those things where that's effort, right? Just trying to close out. Yes, I get jumping at a pump fake, but try and recover. Don't just, he's going to get off a three. Like, at least try and fight back. So I thought the effort in this game was kind of rough for a good part of it. Gotta be better on closeouts and on the perimeter and rotating out quickly. But I did think our help side defense was solid, which allowed us to do what you said, switch, Ant onto Jimmy Butler or Nurkic or Eubanks at times regarding perimeter players. You can help that out if you're able to rotate and provide help side defense. It's just how much of that is leading to open threes. We lost a game against Memphis because we had to continuously send help on drives, especially against John Morant, and Memphis would just kick the ball out and move it. And that's kind of been the recipe for beating the Blazers, I think, so far this year, is being able to consistently get into the paint and then kick the ball out and move it, because you've been able to get open threes against this Portland team by doing that. And that's what Miami was doing in the first half. They even had some good looks in that third quarter. They just went cold, and people could say, oh yeah, we're lucky. Well, yeah, I hope one out of every 3 quarters where we're giving up threes, maybe the team doesn't shoot well, right? Like that happens. And we have quarters like that where we get good looks and don't shoot well. So, you just got to try and cut that down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely it got a little better in the second half, but there was definitely a masterclass on how to leave wide open shooters and give up open shots, whether it was the bad closeouts or just not rotating properly or 2 players rotating to 1. And just all stuff that definitely, we know the Heat don't have a good record this year, but I think they're a much better team than their record shows. But yeah, it's like against the really good teams and the teams that shoot the 3 ball really well, outside of, for some reason, frickin' Lowry becomes Steph Curry when he plays us. I don't understand. He's like horrible. Looks completely washed except for the 2 games against us. But like we have to be able to rotate better and not fall asleep. That's something that the energy level needs to be better on the defensive end. And I felt like our sluggish style and offense tonight at the beginning of the game also led to us being like not quite as quick on defense either. And so it was like magnifying the defensive effort because our offensive effort, the body language was like so poor and stuff like that. So glad they found a way to combat that. But once again, if you're having those issues, go small, especially against teams that don't really have dominant big men inside. I mean, Bam, yeah, he scored some inside, but he's not going to like completely control a game in the post or whatever, or completely dominate someone like Winslow. So I would much rather put in quicker lineups that can get out on shooters against a team like the Heat than to continually just wonder why there's an open shooter.
Yep, absolutely. Let's look at the team stats, and then let's think donos while we look at these team stats. Here are the team stats. We've already talked about a few. Let me pull them up here.
Mateo M has became a starter member. Thank you very much, Mateo. And then
I assume that's the same Mateo that made the intro animation as well. So that intro animation at the start of streams, Mateo made that. Shout out to him for making that. So just want to give him his props once again for that.
Our guy Smog with a $5 donation. 4 game winners in 10 games. Dame went to Rolex and bot everyone watches during his rehab. Is that true? I didn't hear that part, but
I mean, I think it's
that's a metaphor. Yeah,
it's a metaphor because everybody's clutch. Everybody got to watch on. It's Josh Hart time.
Okay.
It's Jerami Grant time. It's Anfernee Simons time.
My bad.
Next game, it's probably Drew Eubanks time somehow. I mean,
I completely failed that one. Sorry, Swan.
I'm waiting for Olivier Sarr time, dude. I mean, it's everybody's time on this team. it's everybody's clutch apparently. It's just in the DNA of this squad.
Whatever, I think that was the Grizzly game where we played on ESPN.
Yeah.
They showed that Dame Time commercial where it was like Linda Cohn asked him if he's available for a meeting at 2:00, and he's like, that's Dame Time. And she's like, every time is Dame Time on your calendar.
That Dame Time is lunchtime.
Yeah, that was funny.
I love that commercial.
Shout out to Adam McVeigh for the Australian $5 donation. I'd love to see Watford at the 5 playing with Jabari at the 4. I think that gives us more than Eubanks/Watford. Here's the problem. As we get into individual players later, you'll see that Nas, Sharp, Keon didn't play at all, but Nas and Sharp in particular, I believe, barely played compared to what they had normally been playing. So that's something that, and then we have Peyton coming back too. So I don't see how Jabari factors into the equation this year when we're healthy. The games like the 2 Phoenix ones where we're missing a bunch of people, sure, he should get a shot just like Keon got. But unfortunately, I don't think when we're healthy, there's going to be enough minutes for everyone that is playing, let alone for Jabari as well. And then, that's the only way I think this can work is if Chauncey picks one of the two between Eubanks and Watford as the backup 5, or doesn't play them both together and just goes with whoever is having the better game in the second half or whatever the better matchup is. But I don't think you can play both of them while also cutting minutes from everyone else, because I think Sharp and even Nas deserve to play a little more in this game, based on how it was going.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a quote on Twitter right now from Justice Winslow. There's something brewing, and I don't want to tell y'all what it is. We're just going to let it keep brewing. We gonna fermentate it.
All right.
Just wanted to read that and put that out there. Justice Winslow after the game. They're fermentating.
All right.
That's my new favorite word.
Yeah, that's cool. He's been tweeting pretty much after every game.
Yeah. Brian Tadovich, $5 donation says, Eubanks, he spelled it U and then Banks like U-Haul. He said Eubanks needs to be traded or released. He's taking minutes from Watford. I don't agree, man. Thank you for the $5 donation, but I don't agree. At least spell the man's name. Poor guy can't even have his name spelled. This has to be like U-Haul. He's the perfect third string big man in my opinion, and can play backup center, and he's been fine this year, right? So it's Chauncey's decision whether to play him or Watford. You don't have to trade or release Eubanks to play Watford over him. So if anything, it's if you feel like Watford should play over Eubanks, you should be complaining about Chauncey. And I think in this type of game, Eubanks had a couple good defensive moments, but Watford maybe fit this game a little bit better. I thought it should have been a situation where the Blazers played Watford at the center spot more than Eubanks, but I think that's the debate. Not necessarily that we should trade or release Eubanks, and it's not like Eubanks has any trade value anyway, and he just resigned, so he's not tradable right now.
Yep. It's so for what he does on the floor, I don't know if you can expect him to be any better than he's been this year. It's not like he's been like terrible in his minutes. It's just some games call for, in my opinion, a little bit more rounded lineup than having all of our front court be non-shooters who can't really create their own shots. So those kind of lineups are just bugging me. But against like he had some good moments against Jokic when we played a good center. I mean, we need Eubank still, and he's done a fine job. I don't know why people are necessarily blaming him. It's not his fault he was signed as the backup center. We didn't do anyone either. So, like, yeah, just like releasing him is a little unfair in my opinion. He's been fine.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you though for the $5 donation, Brian, giving me a laugh at the way you spelled Eubanks.
Trevin says Lowry shot 70% from 3 against us and is 27.5% against everyone else so far this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Blazer killer, I guess, man.
That would have been really annoying if we lost this game. That stat, like that. Now I'm like fine with that stat because we're done with the Heat. We at least got this one. But yeah, like if we would have lost this game and it was because Lowry did this, and then we watch him like suck it up for the next 5 games against other teams, like I would have been pissed.
yeah. So Lowry tonight, 15 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, 5 for 8 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3. Pretty dang good stat line there for him. Let's hop into. You want to hop into some breakdowns, or you want to wait? Because we don't have player cards. We could talk about players now and then do breakdowns. We don't have player cards tonight, so up to you. I
haven't really looked at the team stats that much, but the 19 turnovers, got to fix that.
Yeah, absolutely. Too sloppy. Still.
Yeah.
And it's not even. Here's the thing: is people be like, "Oh, they're moving the ball more. That's why they're turning the ball over more." But it's not that. It's boneheaded stuff. It's like how every game we have a play where we're bringing the ball up and just throwing it across the court when it doesn't even give us an advantage, and it's just getting picked off and gone the other way. Like there's too many times where we turn the ball over when we're just trying to initiate our offense, like make the first pass for a set and just throw it to somebody, and they get denied, they don't hold off their defender well, or the pass is just bad for no reason. Like the turnovers I don't think is a product as much. Like moving the ball more will lead to a couple more turnovers. I think that's worth it though. You get higher quality shots out of it, but it's not causing the Blazers to turn over the ball 19 times. It's just really bad mistakes.
And it's like as bad as I forget what game that was. The Memphis game, I think it was, with the Jerami Grant travels. And, the whole team did it. Like, at least a lot of those were dead ball turnovers to where you can go back and set up your defense before they pass the ball in. But, man, we had, like, Nurkic gets the ball up top. Dame cuts backdoor. He's wide open, and he gets the ball stolen by the guy guarding him. And then Dame had one where he just dribbled up and tried to throw it to the corner and threw it right to his guy. And then we had Jerami Grant. Like, how could you not see Jimmy Butler just lurking in the passing lane, like 5 feet away from you? He just throws it right to him for an easy basket. And then we have Ant trying to throw like a lazy cross-court pass, like from the corner. It's like, dude, like, what are you guys doing? Like, Jimmy Butler's going to overplay those, and he made a killing off us tonight, and we just let him do it, and we're just like throwing it right where we know he's going to be. And that's
6 steals.
Yeah, and that's where we talked about this a couple of games ago when you broke down that backdoor lob play that you wanted to see running. That's where, when you have a player like Jimmy Butler overplaying the passing lanes like that, the backside of that zone, he would gamble when he was back there on the pass going up to the top, and we were just throwing it, and we weren't throwing it with any tempo or anything. We were just throwing a soft, crappy pass across the court, and those backdoor cuts were wide open for whoever that corner guy was, or if you just skipped it with some crispness to it across the court to the far corner instead of across the court to the top. Like those passes were there, and those options were there for this offense, but we just didn't seem to move well at all in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Shaden Sharp had a play where he kind of just dribbled the ball to a defender, man.
Yeah, he just lost the ball. Yep.
Yeah, and he was solid 2 for 2, 1 for 1 from 3 in 12 minutes. Didn't play much after starting a couple games, but that turnover was just the rookie mistakes you expect to see. And he had a play where he had an open 3 and passed it down, and it was a shot clock violation. He caught it with like 1 second on the shot clock, and it was an open 3, and he just didn't shoot. tried to attack the closeouts. Like, you don't got time for that. Shoot the open three. So that's the type of stuff that the Blazers are doing, where it's, just not smart. And defensively, it's hard to even judge the Blazers, because it's like, how much of an opposing team's scoring is coming based off of the Blazers' turnovers versus them playing bad defense, right? So it's not a situation where, like, game in, game out, you can just look at what the other team's scoring and judge Portland's defense based off of it, because they turn over the ball so much that there's going to be games where opposing teams are scoring 10, 12 points on easy buckets because you're turning the ball over. You're throwing the ball right to Jimmy Butler, and he has a wide open lane to the hoop for a layup, right? So that's why you might look at half court defensive stats to gauge the Blazers defense or stuff like that, so that it's not transition based off of turnovers.
Well, this game's going to make it worse, but we were one of the better half court defensive teams in the league, and we were one of the worst in transition defenses. So that's probably not going to change at all after this game. But that's something that the transition part is almost worse, because at least in the half court, you're like back and you should be able to get a rebound if they miss, or you could get lucky. But on it, if you're not getting back in transition or giving up those turnovers that lead to easy dunks or baskets, that is an easy 2 points. And you can't really contest a Jimmy Butler run out after he steals the ball going full speed towards the basket. Those are frustrating, because like, you can't even do anything to stop them, or the worst case scenario, you're going to get a foul, and with the new rules, it's probably going to be a take foul or a clear path foul or whatever, and that's going to make it even worse than just letting him dunk. So something's got to change with these turnovers, man. They have to find a way to be so or much less careless on offense.
Yeah, I agree. I gotta go take care of something for like 5-10 minutes. If you want to carry the stream solo, yep. We got some donations. Let me just thank the names, and then you can read them off. Thank you to Jason, Holly, Anklebiter 2, Elias, and Connor with your guys' donations. Eric will read them off. You're going to have to carry the stream for 5-10 minutes, but I'll be back. And then we'll get into the breakdown, and then we'll start talking about some individual players we haven't yet. That's going to be the stream plan. Let me just set you up a solo webcam real quick. And then you can have your shining moment, Eric. Your one. All right,
I hope everything's okay. We'll see in a little bit.
No, we're fine. We're fine.
All right. So Jason Hawley, $5 donation. Thank you so much. He says, for the last 8 years, I've felt like I've been on an island, as I have very few friends that share my passion for basketball. Thanks for being here. Man, I appreciate all of you as well. This community is very fun. And I know if you saw my reaction to the Jerami Grant game winner the other day, I do go crazy. And I've said this many times on streams. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My emotions are absolutely affected by how the Blazers do and how they perform and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, I know it's not the healthiest thing for me. My wife probably got a little mad at me earlier because of the way I was yelling at the TV when we kept turning the ball over and then going crazy at the end. But man, I just love the Blazers, and I want to see them do well, and I feel like they have the players this year to play well. I feel like they finally have a coach that can possibly have them play the right style. It's fun to watch, and I'm glad I get to share that experience with all of you. So thanks for watching. Anklebiter 2, $2 donation, says, Grant here. Miami had 24 points off of turnovers, feeding them points. Yeah, I mean, if we lose this game and we give up almost a quarter of their points off of turnovers, that would have been the main reason why. So you cannot do that and expect to be a good team. So we're very fortunate to get the win tonight despite that. Yeah, there's all kinds of Chris says, are you really a Blazer fan? If you are, like Eric described. Yeah, you could be all kinds of levels of a Blazer fan, but definitely I'm the extreme. You don't have to be quite that into it, but I definitely get very into the games, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Shout out to Elias for a $4.99 donation. Glad the Suns lost after how rude Gabe was in Twitter after Grant's travel. The next night, Tori and Gabe made up, but it was definitely some tempers flaring after that last 2-minute report came out saying that Grant traveled. It's I think it's all in good fun. Tori and Gabe are good friends. I don't think there was anything like serious about it, even though it seemed that way, even from my point of view on Twitter. But they made up and everything was fine. Shout out to our mod Connor for a $10 donation. A Heat guy put out a tweet saying the Blazers' offensive rating in the last 4 minutes tonight was 242.9. Yikes, man. That is flaming hot, man. That's crazy. I mean, we made every play down the stretch. I think the only thing we did wrong in the last couple minutes of this game was Dame missed a free throw. But Ant was getting to the line. He should have gotten an and one on one of those drives he had. But kudos to Ant for getting to the basket and finishing. Dame had some really nice plays, just getting to the free throw line and being aggressive and forcing them to call a foul. Grant with that awesome three-pointer. Winslow had some easy buckets in the second half that really helped us. And I'm excited to do Brant's breakdown with you guys in a little bit when Tori gets back. Energy Warning says, nice to have a 5:30 start time so I can stay up and watch my dogs on my favorite YouTube show ever. Go Blazers, go Uprise. Yeah, thanks, Energy Warning. I read that off since you donated earlier. And that 5:30 start time is nice because sometimes we get done with these post-game shows and it's already, after midnight or so. Tonight it should be around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it'll be good to have a little bit of time after the stream to do stuff. And then let me see if I have missed any other donations. I think Connor's was the last one according to my stream. So I'll just take questions from you guys, or we can chat back and forth. I like to be interactive when it's just me. So no, the whole room, Brian Tadovich asks, is that whole room decked out with Blazer stuff? So my wife has these like rooster chicken painting things. I don't know what they're, but I just put stuff over it for the stream. I usually have like a Blazer blanket I put over that, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, for now, I'll just put that up there. She won't let me put much up. Like I wanted to have like a corner of my room or whatever. My older daughter, before she went to college, I did have part of the wall that you saw in the background kind of decked out with Blazer stuff and Beaver stuff. But unfortunately, I don't really have the space in my house to put a like full-time background / studio. I've been contemplating changing part of my garage into like a little office that I could maybe put all my Blazer stuff in and have a cool setup there, so I always can stream from the same spot. But for right now, I have to like move around a lot, and sometimes I'm downstairs in the kitchen, like tonight. Sometimes I'm in my room, like earlier today. Sometimes I'm in one of my kids' rooms doing it. So yeah, it's never quite a set place where I always do it from. Mateo asked, what would you say Chauncey's best and worst moment was tonight? I'd say the best moment is a tie between, you got to hand it to him when he used his challenge. This is the second game that a challenge at the end basically won the game for us. We've questioned some of his lack of challenging in the past, but tonight he challenged it. I still don't know if that's the right call, even though Bam definitely hooks Ant. I think you had to challenge that and just hope that the ref saw it that way. It'll be interesting to see what the last 2-minute report says about that call in particular, since that one was done when it's a foul call. It's judged by the officials in the arena, not at the whatever the center in Secaucus, New Jersey is. So it'll be interesting to see if they correctly called that, and or if we get more, oh, we shouldn't have won because of that call type of situation. I mean, I think it was tied at that point. So Bam, I mean, who knows if he makes both free throws or not. We still would have had a chance to win. So I don't think it was that egregious either way. I don't think we could have been too mad, but he definitely hooked Ant. So like, I'm glad they called it. The worst moment was I still feel like we are not attacking teams like Miami enough. We saw how bogged down our offense got in the when we slowed it down and walked the ball up the court. And then here we are in the second half continuing to just walk the ball up. But I thought that it really changed when we started pushing the ball up the court, and players like Winslow, Hart, Grant, Ant, and Dame all got the ball and moved and got the ball up in transition. So I thought that was a key point in the game, because Miami's defense is tough when it's set, and we just played right into that. They were definitely shading towards Dame, the middle guy, and I felt like we could have done a little bit better job. And then, unfortunately, Chauncey's got such a tough decision with who to squeeze out of the rotation or what to do there. So I don't really know what he's going to do moving forward. I guess you could play all of them limited minutes and just let it be out. As long as we're winning, I think players are going to be fine with it. But if we start losing more games, I think it's going to be more of an issue. But as long as you're winning, I don't think those issues quite get up to where you're worried about them until we go on a big losing streak, and hopefully that never happens.
It's always funny to come back to the stream and then see the comments that were left when I was gone. No, I don't hate Justise Winslow, Robbie. I don't hate Justise Winslow, okay? I promise you I don't hate him, all right? The thing I hate most about Justise Winslow is that he's an Astros fan, okay? So I don't truly hate him. Dude, there's a lot of crazy scores in the NBA. I'm looking forward to around the NBA later. I don't know what y'all talked about for the last 8 minutes, but I trust that it was good. I trust that you absolutely carried the stream. Anyway, let me get reacquainted here. Let's just hop into your breakdowns, I guess.
All right, sounds good.
Cool. With the sexy animation. I need to make it so it doesn't make our mics quieter. I have to start like talking loud into my mic during that animation. I need to fix that somehow. I don't know how to though. But here we go. We got Brant's breakdown. This should let me make this easier on myself. Cool. So play number 1, Eric. What do we got?
All right. So we have a defensive possession here, and we're going to find out why we gave up an open shot. And so we see that we have it pretty well set up. We have we're in man, because you can see like Watford's going through with his guy. They're not standing in one spot. Everyone's running with their guy on the move. So Gabe Vincent has the ball. He's going to pass over to Lowry, who's getting a screen from Bam. And Sharp's going to go over the screen and does a pretty good job of recovering. So Lowry doesn't have a drive. And then Duncan Robinson's going to go to the bottom corner, and Lowry's going to kick off to him when he doesn't have that lane for a shot. And you don't want to try to shoot over Sharp, I don't think. I think people are starting to learn that.
Yeah.
And then Duncan Robinson's going to dribble up top and pass back over to Gabe Vincent. So we're back to where we started, 4 slides into the play, right? And now we have Dame guarding Gabe Vincent. Everyone's matched up well. We're in really good shape. The shot clock's down to 14. And this is where it all goes wrong. We see Duncan Robinson goes to set a screen on Damian Lillard. And as you can see, before he even sets his screen, he sidesteps Dame and then just fades out to nowhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, in the next slide, we see that Dame, despite Duncan Robinson not even setting a screen or not even being in position to contest this, switches for some reason and goes with Duncan Robinson. Why? This is the kind of stuff that really bothers me. Like, there is absolutely zero reason for Damian Lillard to switch this. He is standing there. He can easily, even if Duncan Robinson tries to like bump him at the end, he can easily get around that in the previous slide. So not understanding why we switched there, but fine, whatever. We put Watford on Gabe Vincent, Dave goes there. And then Bam's going to come and set a pick on Watford. And so Eubanks is going to have to switch. And now when Watford and Eubanks are in the game, they pretty much should automatically switch all picks. So we have a situation where this should be an automatic switch. Okay, it looks like that's what's going to happen, right? Watford just goes to Bam. Then we have Eubanks on Gabe Vincent, which, I mean, it's not that much of a disadvantage compared to Watford on him, so it's probably not crazy. And as long as you get a hand up and don't let Vincent shoot, I know he drove a couple times in this game, but he's not really known as a penetrator. So like you can at least, just keep him in front of you if you're a big man. So in the next slide, we see that Watford, for some reason,
I knew when this happened, this was going to be a breakdown too.
Yeah. So Watford just leaves Bam and goes to, like, I don't know if he's trying to double team him or he thinks that Eubanks then should recover back. Like, why, Watford? Why? Like, there's no reason to not just switch this, especially since they're now down to 8 seconds on the shot clock. You just play it tight and let Vincent shoot a tough contested shot if that's how it goes. But in the next slide, we can see Watford comes all the way out to him. Bam slips that. Someone tries to get over. I think that's maybe Sharp or someone or Hart, but they try to get over.
Sharp. Yeah.
And unfortunately, Bam has a seal and he catches the ball in the last slide. Open dunk. Easy 2 points. It's
pretty bad, yeah.
Like, you have to recognize if you're Watford. First of all, Dame should have never passed off Gabe Vincent in this play. And second of all, if you're Watford, you cannot try to recover back to your guy if you're that far behind the play and give up an open shot like that.
Yeah. For future reference, I can't show more than 9 for some reason. So
okay.
Yeah, I could show the dunk, but yeah, he got a dunk here. Surprise, surprise, wide open in the middle of the freaking paint as a big man. Bam out of bio. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. So that made no sense. Right when I saw this play, I knew it was going to be a breakdown too, because it was such a breakdown. It had to be a breakdown, right? Yep. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. All right, play number 2. Let me find it real quick. Okay, play number 2. What do we have here?
All right, play number 2 is going to be an offensive possession. And look how we're set up right here. We have who's that in the bottom corner, Tori?
I think is that Ant?
That's Anfernee Simons, right? So we have one of our best shooters. Basically, if we run this play right, wide open in the corner, right? Mm-hmm. But so Dame comes up top. Grant's going to set a pick for him. All Dame has to do is dribble right at Duncan Robinson from here and make him come out and then bounce pass from a better angle where you're passing out to him a little bit instead of from the side. And this is a wide open 3 from one of our best shooters. It's like easy basketball. This is how you into team playing zone against you, right?
Yeah.
Duncan Dame's going to stop his dribble instead of taking that Duncan Robinson and then throw a pass that Ant has to reach in front of him to grab. So by the time he grabs it and sets up, Duncan Robinson has recovered on him. And now once Duncan Robinson recovers, Ant realizes he doesn't have a shot. And in the next slide, he's going to see how it's set up. We have two guys on Damian Lillard. Grant's going to fade a little bit to the top side so that Gabe Vincent can't recover quickly to him, or whoever, Caleb Martin, if that's his decision to switch out either. This is a situation where we should get an open shot still, even though we messed it up initially, because we have someone should be open. And there's a lot of things you can do here. Grant could just dive right down the middle here, and he could get a high pass, and then Jimmy Butler comes down. He could kick it to Hart in the corner, open three. If Butler is behind Grant, Grant's big enough and athletic enough to just go in and score. Or if Dedmon helps on him, then he dumps off to Nurk for a basket. There's so many things you can do here. But instead, Grant kind of fades to the other side, and Ant tries to throw this cross-court pass. You can already see in the slide before that Jimmy Butler is just looking for Ant to make this pass, right? Mm-hmm. So all you'd have to do is maybe fake that pass and then go cross-court to Josh Hart, or Josh Hart cuts there, he'd have a dunk or a lob or something. But Ant throws like this super slow, like careless pass. It didn't even have any speed to it. It was just super, super poor and lazy. And Jimmy Butler easily gets there, picks it off, and has a full head of steam. And there's no one even within the 3-point line by the time he gets to the rim, and he has an easy dunk.
Yep. Any cross-court pass that travels away from the rim, right? So this is like closer to the baseline. Any cross-court pass that travels away from the baseline, you have to zip it. Yep. You have to throw it with some zip, right? And coaches will teach young players not to jump pass, and that's mostly because guys will drive and jump up in the air without knowing where their options are to pass the ball, and they'll get caught and they'll travel, right? But there are times where jump passing can be good. Obviously, with the traffic here, you have to get the ball high to get it above. That's the type of situation where if you're Ant, you maybe jump pass so that you get the ball higher and then you can zip it high, right? Because you can't put zip on it because you have to throw it over these two defenders. So if you throw it from where he threw it, which is also kind of down by his waist, like, you're going to have to put a lot of loft on it, which gives that backside guy, which is Jimmy Butler, time to intercept it, right? So it's geometry, basically. It's angles. It's you know, you want to get the ball to Jerami Grant as soon as possible, but you have to get it at a certain height to get above those defenders. So what's the best way to do it? It's not to throw it from down low. Because it has to travel vertically more. You know, it has to have more arc on it, which is going to make it have less zip.
And this is what I was trying to explain earlier. Use aggression against teams. So Jimmy Butler has been like killing it on playing the passing lanes for years. I mean, it's what he does. Like, so fool him. Like, make it look like you're going to throw that pass, fake it, and then have that skip it across, like right here. If Ant fakes that pass, Jimmy probably still jumps at it, and he can just throw it two-hand zip all the way to the far corner to Hart. And it's just I don't know why we played the Heat twice now. We're still doing this into the second half of the second game against them. We still couldn't figure out that you can't throw passes like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, that's the type of turnovers that I'm talking about too. Let's jump into play number 3. What do you got?
All right, in the next play, as you can see from the graphic in the corner through 3, this is the first play of the fourth quarter, and we have a situation where we cut it to 8. We have been down as many as 15 in that third quarter, and they have the ball at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Let's see, or play the game. Why did we give up an open 3? So we have a situation here where Duncan Robinson's going to get a screen, and he's actually going to be wide open coming off the screen. But there's a really good closeout by Trendon Watford, who contests, and Duncan Robinson, while in the air, realizes that he's not going to get a very good shot off. So he passes down to I can't tell who this is.
Yeah,
it
this
might
is
be
a bright picture. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it might be Lowry down there, and they're going to get the ball, and then Deadman or Bam, I forget who that is. I think it's Bam, is going to cut down the middle in the next slide, and they're just going to throw an easy bounce pass to him. And you can see right now in this slide, there's Gabe Vincent up top. There's Max Strus on the bottom. We have 2 defenders here guarding 3 players, basically, because Dame doesn't get back into the play quick enough. But so Dame at this point needs to rotate down to Vincent once he sees Sharp going there. And then one of these 2 between Winslow and Sharp needs to take this pass to Bam, but it can't be both of them. And it's probably easier if Winslow does. 1, he's the bigger player. 2, he's going at him instead of once again, it's about angles. So Sharp, Winslow's momentum is carrying him towards the play. Sharp could probably recover to the corner quicker. But as we see in the next slide, both of them come all the way down when Bam catches the ball. And Dame just stands there, does not recover back to Gabe Vincent. So Bam actually has his choice of 2 players here that he can pass to for a wide open 3. He chooses Max Strus in the corner, and Sharp, there's no way for him to get out in time, and we give up a wide open 3.
Yep. Bang, bang. Yeah, so one of the things in this sort of play, too, is when you get screened off here and somebody rotates out to your guy, just needs to sink. Just needs to sink. Because Watford's rotating up to his guy. Nurkic is playing down. Who are you guarding up there if you don't sink? It ends up in a situation in this slide where he's guarding nobody. Guarding absolutely nobody. Where he could maybe be in position to affect this pass to Bam if he sunk. So that's just an awareness thing. You get screened off and there's a switch up from the corner, just sink into the paint. And then if they kick out to the 3-point line, maybe you rotate out to the 3-point line. But in this position, you're not able to do anything with this bounce pass. So that's also Ant just needs to sink there and sink towards the elbow and maybe take away this pass, considering he got screened off of his guy and somebody switched on to him.
Oh, yeah. I was saying Dame. That's Ant. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Okay. But, yeah, it's just positioning and little things like that. But then, being able to rotate backside.
Well, we talked about this, too. It's okay if you mess up, but you can't just stand there and not do anything like Ant does on this play. You have to get back into it. And this is part of the problem with our defense in the past is once you get screened or whatever, you don't try to run around. And that's all it takes sometimes is just a little bit of effort.
Yep. All right. Play number 4.
All right. So, someone just asked, do I ever show good plays?
Yeah, I was gonna respond to that and say, to be fair, this game was pretty bad almost the entire game, and then you don't normally take crunch time pictures.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the fourth quarter it's tough. However, I wanted to show this play, and here you go. So we have a play where we pass over to Josh Hart, and he's going to hold the ball for a second. Winslow's going to set a back screen for Lillard in the next slide, but I don't think this is the design is to get Lillard open with this screen. I think they were just setting them up for a rescreen for Lillard to then come back up. As we see in the next slide, Lillard's going to stop. Winslow's already in position to set another screen, and Lillard's going to then pop out and hopefully get an open 3 here, down 9 to cut it to 6. However, Winslow here, great job of reading this. Caleb Martin gets stuck in the dirt watching Dame. I think that's Bam. Oh, no, it's Jimmy Butler. Shoots out the gap and guards Dame. And Winslow just slips between both of them and is wide open down the middle of the key. Great pass by Hart, and by the time Winslow catches it. He's got an easy lay-in for 2 points.
Yep. This is a great example. We talk about making reads, and a lot of times that's in reference to when you have the ball in your hands, making the right pass, seeing how the defense rotates and knowing where to kick the ball, right? But off-ball reads is a thing too, especially as a screener. And this is what, not to reference Golden State again, but their screeners do a really good job of reading situations because defenses will overplay the hell out of Stephen Curry. Dame can get that sort of attention. This is why I want to use Dame off the ball more, because it can open up things for other guys, right? So, yeah, great read here, knowing that Caleb Martin is not going to be in front of him when he flashes, when he slips the screen, and Jimmy Butler's already sprinting out there. And that's where, at the end of games, at that point, you should know how the other team's playing you. What have we talked about Jimmy Butler doing this entire game? It's playing passing lanes, overplaying things. It's like Justise knew he was going to. Right? And this was a perfect read from Justise to slip this screen. And this is why having Josh Hart out there, even when he's not being super aggressive, matters, because he makes the right read on situations like this. It's super easy to just get hung up on okay, I just got to get Damian Lillard the ball. But you got a dude wide open in the middle of the key. Yep.
And when he threw this ball, I was like, oh, man, Lowry, if he reads that, could maybe intercept it. But it was such once again, if you throw it fast and on target, it works. And it was such a perfect pass that it ends up with Winslow catching it in between all three and has nothing but the basket in front of him.
Yep. Generally, the faster the pass, the better. Gives the defense less time to pick it off. Obviously, if you're throwing it, over the top, or it's a full court pass or something like that, a lot of times you're trying to get it over the defense and drop it into whoever's catching it, so you'd put loft on it, or an alley-oop, obviously. So that's not always the case, but passes like this, zipping it is very crucial. Not giving Lowry time to rotate and intercept that pass. So, this is how you can use Damian Lillard's attention to open up dunks or layups for other guys. This is what I see with Golden State. So I love that you included this play.
Yep. And that concludes Brent's breakdown for tonight.
Awesome. Perfect. Really enjoyed that breakdown. That's the thing with the Blazers starting off poorly in first halves, is that's normally when you take your pictures, and this whole entire game, it's like, man, what are we doing? Because as I said at the start of the stream, we did not play a good game. We shot the ball well in the end, but overall, the Blazers could have played a lot better. But the fact that they didn't play super good could be taken as a positive, because there's a lot of room for improvement, and we just beat Miami on the road, right? And we beat Phoenix 2 out of 3 games, and we've beaten Denver, blown out Denver. We've beaten, the Lakers and the Kings aren't looking like playoff teams right now, but Lakers got LeBron and AD, right? What other good team did we beat? Because I thought there was another one.
Did you mention Phoenix twice?
Lakers, Kings, Phoenix twice, Miami, Denver, and who was our 7th win?
Houston.
Oh, that's not good too. Yeah, we're almost at the point of the season where I forget who all our games are against. Once we get 10, 11 games, I can't remember our entire win-loss schedule. Yeah. So anyway, shouldn't try to remember off the top of my head anymore.
There were seasons where I could tell you how we did against every team, all 82 games. Man.
Yeah, this is about the time of the season where I forget a certain post-game show in the past.
It's like phone numbers now, though. It's back in the day, you couldn't just look it up easily, who won, so you had to remember it, or it was just you never knew, right? So you had to remember every game what happened, or there was no internet to look up what happened last year, game after 20 games, what was our record or whatever. Yeah. You couldn't just do that.
When was our 3rd road win?
Yeah. So
wait, when was our 4th road win? I'm gonna look that up while you keep talking.
Yeah. So it used to be you had to remember stuff. Like I said, phone numbers. Now it's all just stored in your phone, and if you lose your phone, you have whatever Google or Apple Cloud, and you can just get them all your contacts back and all that stuff. But you used to have to remember every single person's phone number back in the day that you called, and So yeah, a lot of memorization of stuff back in the day, and a lot of arguments that never got solved that aren't even arguments anymore because you could easily find out within 1 second what the real answer is.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Roller Skate donation for $2. Why do they call the key? And that is because back in the day the the key used to be narrower, so it looked much more like a keyhole.
Yeah.
And like you would see on a door, and that's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kate, for the donation. Our fourth road win was January 17th. So.
Oh wow, nice.
So we had a 6-game. Dude, I don't even remember. I don't really remember any of these games. I don't know if I remember a single one of these games. We had a 6-game road trip last year. 5 of them were on the East Coast. We lost. First game of the trip was January 13th. We lost to Denver. Then we won in Washington. Then we won in Orlando. Then we lost to Miami. Then we won in Boston and won in Toronto. So we went 4-2. And that got us to 20-26. And then we won five games the rest. 7 games the rest of the year.
January had some good moments.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch it until Nas got hurt. That lineup was really playing well.
Yeah,
and then
because we came off that trip, and it's like, okay, maybe we can come back. Let's see. I don't know. And then we came home and we lost at home to Minnesota, and then we lost by 20 at home to Dallas, and that was just like, yeah, we're screwed.
Yeah,
that was kind of the end of that, and then. That 4-game winning streak in that schedule looks like such an aberration. There's 6 losses in a row, then 4 wins in a row, then 6 losses in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already looking a lot better. We already last year we had 27 wins. We're already at 7, so 20 away from matching last year with 72 games left. Let's do it. Let's get it. Also, Eric, let's see how long we can keep up without losing back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Because we haven't lost back-to-back games yet. We won 4 in a row, then we're 3-3 since then, but it was loss, win, loss, win, loss, win.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully we get back on a win streak.
Well, yeah, because we got Charlotte up next.
I want to beat Charlotte, yeah.
Take care of Charlotte, and then you guarantee a 3-3 road trip, which I said would have been good, because it's a tough road trip.
Excellent, man.
Right? You'd be 8-3, then you'd have a road game against New Orleans, road game against Dallas, which I think... Honestly, the goal for this trip now should be 4-2. Beat Charlotte and then beat one of New Orleans or Dallas. Yeah. You might be... Dude, I wouldn't put it past this team to win out the rest of this road trip, though.
I mean, I'm not going to get ahead of ourselves. I'm taking it one game at a time. That old adage. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that we're even talking about it being possibly a trip when... Just a few days ago, we didn't have Dame or Ant, and it was looking very bleak, like even winning a game on this trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody I want to talk about who we haven't really talked about much tonight, who had a really good game. This is where having player cards helps, but Chris is under the weather, so hopefully he gets better. We still need a second guy to help us out with graphics, or we need to figure out how to automate them, which I'm trying to do right now.
Hit us up at blazersupprise@gmail.com if you're interested in helping us out with that.
Yeah. But somebody who I feel like we haven't talked about this entire post-game show, Jerami Grant shot 9 for 15, 5 for 8 from 3. We talked about his clutch 3, but he had 23 points, 6 rebounds, which is good for him, and 2 assists.
Mm-hmm.
He was phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, he did a really good job of attacking the basket. Missed a couple of easy ones in the first half. Otherwise, he might have had a really good night. But, man, those couple threes he hit in the fourth quarter were huge. It seemed like every time we got down by 2 or needed him to hit a 3, there he was, man. And, man, it's impressive. I don't know how he shoots like that. It's completely awkward. Watching it like from someone who has to like gather it a little bit and get into your rhythm.
He doesn't dip the ball.
Can you imagine just catching it high and shooting it like without dipping it at all? Like, how does he get the correct? Like, you have to have a lot of wrist strength to do that. Mm-hmm. So, shout out to him for being able to do that. And I almost feel like he's better shooting it when he doesn't have time and he just has to shoot him like that.
Yeah. The rhythm is different, because it's like the upward swing of the arms from the ball being brought up from the waist, like, starts your upward momentum. Like, when you jump, you bring your arms back, right? Like, your hands down by your waist, and then you bring them up. You use your arms for momentum. It was kind of the same with the basketball, like, being able to dip it down to your waist and then bring it up helps you transfer that momentum upwards into your shot. I've never agreed with the whole thing that some coaches preach where you're not supposed to dip the ball on a catch and shoot, right? Because it's too slow. Dude, like, Steph Curry shoots the ball crazy fast and he dips the ball.
Especially on a three-pointer, man. You almost have to get that momentum to the basket. But I understand, like, if you're within like 10 feet of the hoop, not to bring it down. But
I mean, like, the whole point, let me just make an argument against that. Side note is, think about it. If you catch the ball up high, like, what Grant does is awesome, right? If it works for you, it works for you. I'm not critiquing it at all. No. But your timing of when you get off the shot isn't dependent upon, like, where you start your shot from with your arms. It's your jump. It's your legs. Because most guys shoot at the top of their jump. Like, if they have their legs bent and they're catching the ball and then they can dip and have everything go up, normally the timing's the same as if they keep it up top, because the timing is just based on them reaching the top of their jump, and it's not like you're going to start your jump before you catch the ball, right? So that's why having a dip doesn't really slow down your shot unless it's, like, really pronounced and it slows down your legs. Like, timing is all dependent on the legs, not necessarily the arms.
I feel like it doesn't really jump though either.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why it works for him. That's why it's quick when you don't really jump. But yeah, that's something that has been debated. I've seen debated before.
And I still don't like how we came out when we were in the man-to-man sets. He's guarding Lowry, and not that Lowry's like super quick or anything, but like I still feel like we're taking him out of his strength of protecting the basket. But somehow it's working, and we're winning games like despite doing that. So I'm gonna not complain about it until it actually starts costing us wins.
Absolutely. Shout out Oscar, $5 donation, says, "What are we going to do with this team? You love to see it, and I've had like 6 heart attacks." But seriously, this trip couldn't have started any better. 4-2 ? 4-2 would be awesome. Let's go 5-1. Let's get greedy. 5-1, win the next 3 games, be 10-3. Talking about how, I hope we're 500 after November. If they, let's see, how many games played through October and November? I think it's 22. 22. So 11 wins would be 500 through November. They're at 7. So 4 and 8 the rest of the month.
I mean, that's almost like disappointing level now that we're into the season. Yep.
I mean, dude, like, I feel like this team is good enough to beat good teams on the road. So in the past, it's been like, okay, well, hopefully we can be 500 because these are going to be really tough games to win. But at a certain point, when you have a good enough team, it's like, okay, well, let's just go out there game by game and we can beat anyone. So let's just focus on, hopefully this team plays well and cleans up some of its mistakes, right? That's about the mindset that I've gotten to at this point. But still, it's still early, because like 6-4 is like, okay, that's good, but you're 2 games away from 500, all right? And it's like we barely got
to 2 tough games coming up.
With 2 tough games coming up, but like 7-3, it's like, oh my goodness, like we're still beating good teams, so let's keep it going. Yeah. So it's still early, so the swing is drastic, but I mean, this team has a knack for winning close games. Yeah, you could look at it and be like, this team's almost 3-7, but being a part of a good team is being able to win close games and have that clutch gene. So that's a part of things.
Yeah, and like unless you're like the Warriors or the Bucks heading into the season, the template for winning 50 games, if you're just trying to get into the playoffs and be a solid team, is usually to dominate at home, so going like 29-12 or 30-11 at home, and then going 21-20 or 20-21 on the road, and that gets you to 50 wins. So that's usually what the template is for teams that are trying to win 50 games and be in that solid playoff picture. But man, if you can do better, I mean, we haven't. We all but one of our losses are at home so far, so we're actually doing better on the road. But if you
We're
can,
4-1.
yeah, if you can actually if we can protect our home court, especially in those months where we have a huge amount of heavy home game schedule, we should be in a position where if we're still playing well on the road, possibly be talking about home court advantage and stuff later in the season. But still too early, 10 games into the season, to think about that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's a long marathon. It's just trying to That's the thing, is good teams too. Phoenix won the regular season last year. Did it matter in the playoffs? Nope. They lost in Game 7. Sure, you get an easier path, but the regular season for good teams is as much just becoming the best possible version, the best possible team, and then identifying your weaknesses for the trade deadline and upgrading those weaknesses, whether it's, via trade or the buyout market. Portland did that in 2019. They needed a backup center. They got Ennis, and they needed a bench scorer, and they traded for Rodney Hood, right? Mm-hmm. And they ended up being the 3 seed, made the Western Conference Finals. So the thing is, right now, is the Blazers have to clean up their turnovers. That is, dude, if they were taking better care of the ball, they would probably be, they would be 8-2. They would have beaten Memphis. The other 2 games, it would be hard to say that they would win them, but a lot of these close wins wouldn't be close wins. They'd be comfortable wins if the Blazers just didn't turn over the ball, 17, 18 times a game or whatever it is right now. It's just a crazy number. So that's room for improvement. They have to continue to try and play the same way offensively, but just not make the dumb mistakes, the dumb turnovers, make better passes. And if they do that, then you're scoring more often. You're not giving other teams as many easy runouts. Then you're sitting pretty. Then you're looking even better. And this team already looks good. So that's where I'm at with this team, is if they can take care of the ball, they are going to be in any game they play in, unless they just have a fluky shooting night where they're insanely cold or the other team's insanely hot or they're injured. If they take care of the ball, they're going to be in games. And they didn't take care of the ball in this game, and they still came back and were in this game. So even when they don't take care of the ball, they're still in games. So that's the key right now, is that's the number one thing I think this team needs to focus on, is not turning over the ball as much, but still playing the same way. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Wonder what the league average is in turnovers. Let me just look it up real quick.
It's about 14.
Yeah. If it's
ish.
Let's just say we had, so that gives us 4 or 5 less turnovers a game, right? Just think how much easier some of these wins would have been. And I saw a comment from Kel Lauren earlier, who said, "Can we please just get a blowout win so we don't have these close games and I don't have a heart attack?" But yeah, it's that's the kind of stuff we need to do if we want to not have to possibly talk about these wins we could have had if we didn't turn the ball over, because those are coming. You're not going to get lucky like this every game. So hopefully that can sort itself out. But it's just, I don't know. I don't really expect Dame. He's had a few times in the past where he's had turnover issues. But I don't really expect him to just fumble the ball as much as he's done. He was doing that a little bit last year, but I don't expect him to just keep doing that all season,
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking back to my schedule breakdown video that I dropped over the off season when the schedule came out back in August, and I always do 50-win pace. I project the records of teams and then look at the Blazers as, if they were a 50-win quality team, what would their record be? Obviously, if you play the best team in the league, a 60-win team, the first 3 games, you would expect to be 0-3, right? So it's just mathematics, and it's a mathematical model that I do for this, but just referencing this back, my 50-win pace in that schedule breakdown, 3-3 in October, after October, 9-13 after November, given how hard November was, and then 19-16 after December, going 10-3 in December. So December should be a relatively easy month. The same with January, 10-3 in December, 12-3 in January were my marks for a 50-win team, but 6-10 in November, ending up 9-13. So we're 2-10 the rest of the way. You're at that 9-13 mark. Obviously, we're shooting for far higher than that at this point. But it's also a situation that, you take care of the hard, difficult games early in the season. You gotta not play down to your opponent later on in the season. You gotta take care of the easy games, and that's how you build a 50-55 win season. This team is capable right now of being a 55 win team, in my opinion, because you're talking about Miami and Phoenix. They've won 3 out of 5 games against them, beat Denver, almost beat Memphis when they were shorthanded. Dame's missed time. GP2 hasn't played yet. Ant's missed time, right? So this team is capable of being honestly, Eric, this team right now is capable of being a 1 seed in the West. Utah's been a 1 seed in the West in previous years. And when you look at the Western Conference right now, the Suns lost today, and we can do around the NBA. The Suns lost today. I heard CP3 got hurt. Did you hear any news on that?
I have not seen anything about his injury, no.
Chat. Somebody in chat said it. So, chat, what's up with CP3? The Suns lost to the Sixers 100-88 today. Embiid had 33 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. We'll get into some other games later.
Trevin says previous years. I think they're the 1 seed right now, buddy.
Are they the 1 seed right now?
I believe so, yeah.
It's still early on in the season. Saying they're capable of being at the end of the year is different.
I'm just joking with you.
Yeah.
But the Cavaliers...
They are not the 1 seed right now. Utah is. Utah's 9-3.
No, that's what I'm saying. You said Utah.
Yeah. Well,
they're the 1 seed this year.
I don't know what the hell is going on there, man. They're just unbeatable at home. They're 5-0, right? But their schedule. I don't understand. They beat Memphis twice. I don't understand Utah at all. That's Eric. Utah makes no sense. What? They literally just stripped down the entire roster, players. Traded their stars. Yeah.
Markkanen's back to looking like the player he was when he was a rookie.
But he's not even shooting the 3-ball well. It's from 2.
Yeah, Colin Sexton. Outside of injuries, he was putting up good numbers, and they still have Clarkson, Conley, players that can get the job done.
I think the Jazz are a play-in team still, but that's better than I thought before the season.
The Clippers just went on. They're currently on a 14-0 run to go from down 12 with a few minutes left to up 2 with 37 seconds left. And it looks like there was also a foul on the shot. So Clippers about to go up 3 with 37 seconds left.
The Clippers just lost to the Jazz too. Obviously, we're rooting for the Cavaliers in that game. That's who they're playing, an Eastern Conference team. Cavaliers trying to go to 9-1 to match the Milwaukee Bucks, who lost today to the Atlanta Hawks. Both me and you doubled down on the Pelicans, and they lost to the Pacers. So I don't know what's going on in the NBA today, but Milwaukee finally lost 117-98 against Atlanta. And Trae Young didn't play, and Giannis played. So every team has those games. I think I said that last stream, and somebody was like, well, Milwaukee, they're undefeated. Well, they had Giannis and Drew and everybody they've been playing with, and Atlanta didn't have Trae Young, but DeJounte Murray had a huge game, 25 points, 11 assists, 24 off the bench. Did you see this, Eric?
Mm-mm.
Did you see who had 24 off the bench for them and was a plus 28?
For the Hawks?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Do you have a guess?
No.
AJ Griffin.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed him.
He was 2 for 6 from 3, 10 for 15 from the field, had 3 steals. Yeah, so he was huge off the bench, the rookie out of Duke.
8 of 9 from 2?
Yeah, 8 of 9 from 2. I'm going to have to watch his highlights after this because I don't understand that at all. But they played Jalen Johnson 22 minutes, Justin Holiday 23 minutes. Yeah, good game from the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting I'm trying to put the Cavs game up on my phone. I'll keep you updated with the end of this. But Yeah, in the West right now it's Utah. I think they're a playing team. I don't buy them as much as I buy this Trailblazer team. But who knows? It's just the talent on that team I don't think is as high as the talent on this team. So in the end, I think they're gonna fall back to the pack a little bit. I had a horrible picks against the spread day, by the way.
I think a lot of us did, so don't worry.
Except for Zach, probably.
Actually,
I think Zach might have too.
Zach didn't get his double down because he doubled down on the Heat, didn't he?
Yeah. I saved chat by the Knicks thing.
Zach won a couple islands, but lost a ton of other games. So I don't know.
The Knicks thing saved Zach because he was betting the home team, and I put the home team in the wrong spot, so he bet the road team, and that was the Knicks.
The one game.
And they win 121-07. Julius Randle, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. The Timberwolves look very mediocre. I had them as a 2 seed. They don't look good, man. Offensively, they don't look the same. I think they're going to be better. I think it's a situation where Anthony Edwards is underachieving right now. Everybody expected to break out from him. That hasn't really happened. If anything, he's maybe been worse this year than he was last year. D'Angelo Russell's really struggling. Cat isn't even playing up to his standards. He had a good game today, though. 25 points, 13 boards, 7 assists. But still, those guys have not played well.
Mm-hmm. Cavs elect to go for a quick 2, get a Mobley dunk to cut it to 1, and then foul with 15 seconds left. Clippers go to the line.
I wish this would load for me. It's like, no, you're streaming. Stop trying to use your Wi-Fi with a video feed from YouTube TV League Pass.
But yeah, that spread was 5, so it's not looking good unless it goes to overtime.
Yeah, I took the Cavs on that.
Both of those teams on the second night of a back-to-back, too. So.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted with the end of that game. We've had the scores down below. Wizards beat the Hornets 108-100. Jordan Goodwin has had some good games. He had 17 for the Wizards in this game. They were without Bradley Beal. Hornets, that's our next opponent. PJ Washington, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Hopefully the same 3 players are out for the Hornets with LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward, and Cody Martin because, 1, I don't want Ball to play, and 2, I don't want to watch another Martin play against us.
Dennis Smith Jr. has been playing big-time minutes for them, and he's been phenomenal all season long.
Oh, man.
Except for tonight.
He's going to be amped up for Wednesday, though.
Yeah, but tonight, 1 for 11, 0 for 2 from 3, 10 assists, 3 blocks.
What a stat line.
3 points. Yeah, so Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre starting for them. Both those guys, 9 for 23 for Rozier, 8 for 20 from Oubre. I'm just going through their entire box score because this is who we play next. Nick Richards has been really good off the bench. He was 4 for 6 tonight. I don't really know why he's been really good because he's not a skilled big man at all. So I don't know if it's just he's getting good opportunities around the rim or what. But Jalen McDaniels plays for the Hornets. He played 27 minutes tonight. Book Knight's been playing some time. He hasn't been that impressive. This is a Charlotte team that you can score on. Defensively, they suck.
We better not turn the ball over 20 times against them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nature Made.
Shut up, Nature Made. Why are you playing an ad? I had you muted. Sorry, I'm yelling at ESPN.com. What were you saying?
So the Cavs or the Clippers made both free throws and then fouled, so the Cavs couldn't get a 3-point shot. Yeah. Garland misses the first free throw and makes the second, so they're down 2, going to have to foul again. So if Clippers make both, they're going to likely win the game.
Shout out Jordan Baker, $5 dono. Sorry, Jordan, I took so long to not read this off, but to shout it out because it's not a message. It's a GG sticker with the clapping hippopotamus emoji animation. Thank you, Jordan Baker, for the
Thanks, Jordan.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it was like 10 minutes ago. I should have read that off earlier as we were just scoreboard watching here. But other games, we're just kind of bouncing around the NBA here. Rockets beat the Magic 134-127. Jalen Green had 34 points. He just has like a big game once out of every 3 games. And then like against us, he was terrible. I think he was, 4 for 19. Kevin Porter Jr., 17 points, 11 assists, 8 boards. He's been solid. Kenyon Martin Jr., 21 off the bench. Mancaro, 30 points, 4 assists, 8 for 16. We had Pistons beating the Thunder 112-103. Jaden Ivey, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. You had Cade with 21 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. So that backcourt putting up stats, even though it wasn't the most efficient night.
Mm-hmm.
SGA was phenomenal. Everybody else sucked for the Thunder, pretty much.
Yeah.
Except Ousmane Dieng played. How did he do? 1 for 7. Hate to see it. +8, though, in the loss for Dieng. The Pacers. How did the Pacers beat the Pelicans, Eric?
I don't know. I'm so disappointed in the Pelicans. So hopefully...
Isn't that a good thing, though, that the Pelicans lost to the Pacers?
Well, it's not, because now they're going to be more focused when we play them in a few days on Thursday, because...
Don't they have a game in between now and then, though?
I'm sure they do, but no. Well, actually, I'm not sure, because no one plays tomorrow.
No, they play Chicago on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, so they're on a back-to-back, too, at least.
Yeah, so we'll both be on back-to-back. So, they beat Chicago, and then they...
As Cyclone said, Miles Turner at 37 today, so...
Dude, the Pelicans have 3 overtime losses this season. 122-121 on October 23rd against Utah. 120-117 against the Lakers on November 2nd. That was the Matt Ryan 3 game. And then against Atlanta this past Saturday, 124-121. And then they lose to the Pacers. So, just looking at this box score, Miles Turner had one of his... Oh my goodness, Miles Turner popped off games. Oh my goodness, Miles Turner's better than Nurkic games. 37 points, 11 for 18, 4 for 7 from 3, and 11 for 11 from the free throw line.
Yep.
In 37 minutes. Andrew Nembhard started. They still will not start Benedict Mathurin, even with Duarte out, Eric. They started my guy, Andrew Nembhard.
How did he do?
15 points, 5 assists. Oh, Mathurin?
15 and 5 for Nembhard's good.
Yeah, 6 for 11, 3 for 4 from 3. I like Nembhard, man. I think he's already like at least a backup guard on a good team. He just knows how to play. They got some guys there that are just smart. Nembhard and Halliburton.
Such a weird pick for the Pacers.
Yeah, still like Nembhard and Halliburton is a very smart, like crafty, and big backcourt too. Yeah, and then you got McConnell out there. I like Nembhard and Halliburton, though. I like the Pacers. They got guys I like. But Halliburton was Mathurin was 2 for 8, 1 for 6 from 3, 8 points.
A bad game for him. Wow.
Yeah. But everybody in the starting lineup for the Pacers had at least 15 points. You got Jalen Smith there starting. He's been solid. But CJ was 3 for 11, 9.7 assists, 5 boards in 36 minutes. I need to look up his stats for the season. See how he's been doing. He hasn't been shooting the ball well this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hate to see it, but also love to see it. But he's making his free throws 86% on still like 2 a game in 36 minutes. I want to go look up like a Pelicans fan forum and see what they're saying about him, even if it's reached like CJ hater levels from Blazers fandom in past years.
Yeah.
Because they all loved him last year, and then just hasn't shot the ball. 42% from the field, 32% from 3 this year. Ingram had 29 on 12 for 24, and Zion Williamson had 26 on 10 for 15. But what did I say about this Pelicans team before the season? I don't know if you remember that conversation. I don't think you disagreed with me either. I don't know. I don't remember if you disagreed or not. But I thought this Pelicans team wasn't going to be like absolutely elite offensively, and then defensively they were going to be below average to like really bad. And therefore I wasn't buying the Pelicans hype. And in a game like this where like Ingram and Zion both have good, efficient games against a bad team, but they give up 129 points. That's how I think this Pelicans team is going to be. Their defense just is going to be bad enough where they're not a good basketball team, man. Like, offensively, I don't think they are that special. They're good, but they're not great. Defensively, they're bad, maybe terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
update on the Cavs game. Cavs down 4. Paul George fouls Donovan Mitchell on a 3-point shot. Makes the first 2, misses the third one on purpose, but Paul George gets the rebound, goes to the line, misses both, but there was only 1 second left. Cavs were out of timeouts and can't get a shot off.
Why would you foul on a 3 up 4?
I don't know. It's really dumb, but...
That is really dumb. That's Paul George for you. So the Clippers get the win, though.
Clippers win.
Paul George, 26 on 10 for 20. And then Marcus Morris, 20 points. Reggie Jackson, 18. Norman Powell, 17 off the bench, 5 for 6. And 6 for 7 from the free throw line in his 27 minutes. Of course, in his 27 minutes, he has 1 rebound and 0 assists. That's Norman Powell for you. That's, Norman Powell, great Gary Trent levels of just, they don't rebound, they don't pass. Mitchell, 30 points in the loss. Jared Allen, 10 points, 20 rebounds. Anyway, what other games have we not covered? Because every team played today.
Raptors, Bulls. I don't think
Bulls beat the Raptors 111-97. Levine 30 points. I took the Bulls in that one. Okay, cool. Almost everybody went Raptors, so I will be happy about that for now. Trent 7 for 12. Raptors are without Siakam. It'll be interesting to see how they play without Siakam. Scotty Barnes is going to have to step up. He was only 2 for 9 today. Although one of those 2 makes did include a poster dunk over Vucevic, so that was cool for the highlight reel, but he has to play better in place of Siakam. He doesn't really look like he's ready to take that second-year leap right now. And then, Bulls, Levine had a great game. DeRozan was quiet, 9 points in 36 minutes, but didn't make a difference. And then you got, Celtics beat the Grizzlies 109-106. Tatum, 39 points. Ja, 39 assists, 8 rebounds. Grizzlies 7-4 now.
Celtics were up comfortably most of that game and then don't cover at the very end. That's frustrating.
Yeah. Nuggets beat the Spurs 115-109. So they didn't cover their spread either.
Nope.
Jokic, 26 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. Keldon Johnson, 30 points. Spurs 5-6. Nuggets 7-3. Same record as us. Mavericks moved to 6-3. They beat the Nets 96-94. Luka had 36. Somebody asked me on that stream earlier today who's going to have the most points in the NBA. Oh, it was Reese that asked me. And I said Luka. It wasn't Luka.
Miles Turner so far, I think.
Miles Turner out of the games we talked about, but actually Steph Curry had 47 points.
Curry, yeah.
8 assists, 8 rebounds, and a 116-113 win. The Warriors beat the Kings to move to 4-7. They almost, dude, if they lost that game and ended up 3-8, they would have been worse than the Kings. Oh, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But the Kings have lost close games this year. They don't have that clutch gene. They are the anti-Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
Good in preseason, bad in the regular season, not clutch. They're the opposite of the Blazers. Harrison Barnes in 22 minutes, 0 points, 0 assists, 0 for 4. Keegan Murray, second quiet game in a row, 6 points, 2 for 7 shooting. But, Steph was phenomenal. Clay still kind of struggling, 6 for 18. Jordan Poole hasn't been that good this year. 22 minutes, 1 for 4 from the field, 2 points. Mm-hmm. Do you think the debate has been settled between Ant versus Jordan Poole?
I mean, I don't think anything's settled yet. There's still young players that have the opportunity to grow into even more than they are now. And I do think it's a little unfair of a comparison because Poole is playing behind several guards, whereas Ant's basically taken over as our clear-cut second option. So, but as of right now, I think it's pretty clearly in Ant's favor. But I mean,
Poole should be more efficient in that role, though.
Yeah, he has not played well so far, but
he's a bench guard for a bad team, and Ant's a starting guard for a great team.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, win a championship last year, and Poole was a big part of that. So
I don't remember. I have amnesia.
Yeah, it's kind of balances out. But I would like to see Poole on a team where he got more of a role, but it's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yep, and then final game that we haven't talked about, Jazz scored 139 points against the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious. Poor Wenyon started for them, so I guess, he's part of the blame there, man. That sucks, but Wenyon needs to leave that trash poverty franchise, right? Sorry, Max, if you're in here. I'm just saying what Laker fans have always said to us. Lakers fall to 2-8. The Lakers need to actually win more games so the Pelicans don't end up with Victor Wembanyama. That would be scary. Talk about their defense not being good enough. Yeah, he would fix that. And their offense would then be... I don't want the Lakers... Because the Pelicans get the Lakers pick. I am worried, Eric. I am officially worried about Victor Wembanyama wearing dark navy blue, red, and tan next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Russell Westbrook's putting up efficient games off the bench, too. 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. 22 points, 5 assists, only 2 turnovers. But he was a team worst minus 23. It's like, even if Russ has a good game, he's still bad.
Yeah.
So, Lakers didn't have LeBron in this one.
Helps you fight migraine attacks.
Shut up, ESPN, man. Shut up. Herbal Glones or something was the ad there. But Markkanen 23 points, Clarkson 22, Sexton 17, Horton Tucker 15 against his old team, getting his revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's all the action from today. Anything else you want to talk about for this post-game stream?
Yeah, someone we haven't mentioned at all outside of chat. What do you think of Jusuf Nurkic tonight?
Oh, yeah, Jusuf Nurkic is a thing. I didn't really notice him. And now looking at the at his stat line, 29 minutes, 1 for 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 4 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers was his stat line. I mean, and he was a minus 11, but I don't know. Like, he just wasn't bad or good. He just didn't do much.
The usual hypocrites in chat want us to just kill him tonight. But
why? For what?
I don't know. The 2 turnovers were bad. He had that pass wide open, like I said, to Dame, and then he caught a pass on a short roll and just forgot the dribble and got a travel call.
Yeah. He got his footwork crossed up. But
he only got 2 shots. One of them was a big offensive rebound putback in the second half. And he was controlling the boards in the first half. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I killed the entire team for turnovers, It's like a whole team thing. Except for Justise Winslow didn't turn over the ball today. He had 12 points, 2 assists, 6 for 8 from the field. Missed his only 3, 6 for 7 from 2, though. Had that slip screen that you talked about. He was good attacking the rim today. Got some revenge against his old team.
And that's why I wanted to I forgot to mention this during that play, is something that we've talked about a lot, is how do you make it so Winslow doesn't hurt you spacing-wise if he's on the floor. And that's exactly what you have to do, is have some plays where he's the screener and can catch the ball either in that short roll or down the lane for open shots. He's got to be used more as a cutter.
Yeah.
They did some things in preseason that made it so seem like they were going to do stuff like that a lot more, and they haven't really done that a lot with him in the games. They basically just let him stand around. But he was really good today, and that when we went small, that completely changed the outcome of this game.
Yeah. Was he the small ball center on that play?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, see, like, that makes it easier, though, because the help is coming from the guy in the corner, so it has further to go, whereas, like, if you have Nurk or Eubanks in there and they're on the block or whatever, then it's easier to help onto Winslow in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, still, it's still beneficial just to have more spacing out there for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because Winslow isn't sharp where, like, you can be there, but if he gets his steps right, you have no chance that he's going to dunk on you. But yeah, I mean that's how you utilize a Justice Winslow, and if they help, he makes the right pass, makes the right kick out. So he had a good game today. Good to see.
And I just want to read Joey's comment, giving Chauncey Billups credit when Nurk doesn't have it or it's not working. He's not afraid to switch it up and put him on the bench. Absolutely, that's a great point. Chauncey's done that in a couple games now this year. Nurk came back in the fourth quarter. I don't think he necessarily, outside that travel, did anything wrong in the fourth quarter, but it was clear we needed a little bit quicker lineup out there without a center, and small ball was the right move there. Just like what I was saying with Eubanks minutes earlier. So yeah, shout out to Chauncey for not being afraid to do that. And so far, I mean, you can watch Nurk's reaction or the rest of the bench off Josh Hart's shot, but Nurk hasn't been moping or complaining about getting taken out either, which is good.
You know what I have a problem with that I just realized from this game that I kind of hadn't thought about? Why did Sir Little only play 7 minutes?
We talked about that earlier, or I talked about that earlier.
Did you? I don't think I was here for that.
Because that lineup in the second half, I mean, Sharp only played 11 minutes. The lineup in the second half, the third quarter, our bench lineup, when we started subbing, he brought in Eubanks with Watford, and that's what we were talking about earlier. How they played minutes with them.
That's
and
stupid.
It was Winslow, Eubanks, Watford, Dame, and I think Grant was still out there with them. Yeah.
That's stupid. Play Nas instead of Eubanks and play Watford at the 5.
Yeah.
Nas in 7 minutes today, 2 for 3 from 3. Didn't shoot a shot from 2. Had a board, personal foul. I mean, his shots looked solid, man. I don't know why he's. Why is Watford? Why is Watford playing as many, if not more, minutes at the 4 than Sir Little?
I don't know. I mean, I know Nas got beat off the dribble by Jimmy Butler a couple times, but several of our players did. Yeah.
Trey Watford ain't stopping him. Come on. I don't like that. He's been playing well.
Yeah.
Reward him. Don't give him 7 minutes. That's what Stotts would do.
This is the problem, though, with the minutes crunch. We talked about this last time. I mean, you were, I think it was you, that was saying Nas might be the odd man out of the rotation.
At the expense of Gary Payton II, though. Not at the expense of playing Eubanks and Watford together.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But that's what I was saying earlier. I think... I mean, obviously, it's not anything to worry about for one game, but if this starts to be a trend where he's playing Watford and Eubanks together, I don't think that's the right course with how many good wings we have. And this is exactly why we still will always go back to signing Gary Payton. And it's like after drafting Sharp, it's like we have too many players at that position that all seemingly deserve minutes. And once again, as long as you're winning, I think people will be fine playing 7 minutes or whatever it ends up being. But you can't get away with that if players start to struggle ahead of those guys. Like, let's say, Hart starting to have bad games, Winslow has bad games, and Nas and Sharp are sitting there like, what the heck, man? What did we do to not get to play over these guys, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking of it the same way at all as I was when we signed Gary the Payton II, because I'm more comfortable with Justice Winslow as a small ball 5.
Yeah.
Nas isn't playing a ton, right? And at the time, it was like, I don't know, I wasn't as high as Gary Payton on Gary Payton's ability to guard forwards as I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just make it work. And also it was like, oh, this team needs more size. This team needs more size. And Cronin at the trade deadline said they were going to talk about balancing the roster out from a size perspective. And then they went double down on small ball. So I was questioning that. Obviously that small ball's working right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a problem.
Well, that's what I think. I mean, I know you're probably going to say Watford should be the guy, and judging on him coming in rather quickly tonight in the rotation ahead of some guys who were coming in as the 6th or 7th man. Like, I don't understand why he wouldn't just have the backup center minutes, especially on a night like tonight where how many minutes did Nurk end up playing? 28. So that's 20 minutes you could have between Watford and Winslow there at the backup 5 and just take Eubanks 13 minutes out of there.
Eubanks just shouldn't automatically play.
Yeah.
But it seems like he just automatically plays, which I have a problem with. It should either be...
I mean, they've always liked Eubanks. I mean, I don't know if that's going to change though.
I mean, but like if we go up against a small ball team that plays small ball with the bench, right? Even if they have a big starting center, like you match Nurkic up against their starting center, right? If it's a small ball backup center, play Winslow at the 5 and don't play Watford or Eubanks. Play Nas more. This is when you have Gary Payton II, right? And then your bench is Sharp, GP2, Nas, Winslow. And then you know, you play Ant with the bench unit, right? Then you just try and fast break the other teams to death and pressure defense them to death with Nas, with GP2, with Winslow, with, Ant can get through screens. Ant has been okay defensively, I think. And then Sharp, in transition. I mean, you Sharp, Nas, GP2 in transition. Winslow in Ant being like the center and the point guard, but both of them can be that guy pushing the pace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the bench unit should be against small ball teams. It shouldn't be freaking Watford and Eubanks together. Like, what identity does that grouping have with those two guys together? It's not like a small ball scrappy unit that's going to play pressure defense and run because you got two bigs out there. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the identity of that unit? There is no identity. Especially if you get GP2 back and you still, like, do that stuff. It's like if you have Ant, GP2, Sharp or Nas, Watford and Eubanks, what is the identity of that lineup? Mm-hmm. What are the strengths of that lineup? So that's where I sit on that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, this team has such a higher ceiling long term. Just assuming they make the playoffs, if Sharp's development is sped up and he's that guy where you're comfortable playing him big minutes off the bench. I mean, the more he shows in that role, the better off this team could be, having that, maybe even eventually having him be like a go-to scorer off the bench. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's going to happen this year, but the more we mess around with playing all these like 11, 12 guys, like we talked about even before the season, trying to get all these guys into one game, I think the more that development is kind of hurt, because you have nights like this where he maybe plays 11 minutes and doesn't really get involved too much in the game.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, I'm going to try and finally get that analytics video out tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll have a post-game stream after the Charlotte Hornets game. Thursday we'll have Blazers Uprise Live once again, and then we'll have a post-game stream for Blazers versus Pelicans or Mavericks that day. I think it's the Pelicans.
I think it was the Pelicans, yeah.
Yeah, Dame versus CJ for the first time in his career, hopefully. And you won't be able to make the Blazers Uprise Live episode and might not be there for the post-game show, you said?
Yeah, correct. I'm going to have to go down to Corvallis on Thursday. So.
Alrighty, so could be solo.
Might be soloing. Yeah, sorry.
Maybe I'll see if Crushables is willing to hop on or something, because Crushables is a YouTuber too. So he was in here in chat. You know, he just has a lot going on right now. But might be time to bring him in for a guest appearance or something.
Absolutely.
But so we're gonna try and get that analytics video out probably tomorrow night, maybe 10 p.m., 11 p.m., something like that. I like giving successful post-game streams room to breathe and accrue views and new subscribers, so I don't want to bury it. I don't think it would get buried in it anyway. Like, streams and videos are now sorted separately on the channel page. Mm-hmm. chat, let me know, how do you guys normally click on streams? Is it off a notification? Is it off Discord? Is it off Twitter? Is it off just go into your subscription feed after a game? How do you guys normally click on videos? I'm curious what split we have in here. So let me know in chat. And if you want to join our Discord, segue into a plug, I will post a link in chat. And you can join our Discord. All right, so we got subscription feed, notification. Definitely turn on notifications too. Notification, recommended. Just go into sub feed. So pretty even. Pretty even mix. So anyway, I was just curious to see what you guys said. So might start doing shorts. People keep telling me to do shorts. And, it's just, you can't do, I don't think you can do a thumbnail with them, and you can't monetize them the same, so, I don't know. I've just never really thought about doing them, but maybe in the future, we'll see.
Just Eric's reactions to close game shorts.
Yeah. Or I just start uploading more to Blazers Uprise Live, even if it's not live, Mm-hmm. And I'll still keep Blazers Uprise Live as the channel name, but maybe start uploading Brains Breakdown segments from post-game streams over there and whatnot. I just don't want people to... I don't want to do anything that makes less people click on our post-game streams, Anyway.
Yep.
TikTok, yeah. I had somebody hit me up about helping with TikTok, so I might start trying to do TikTok. But yeah, I don't know. We're good sidetracked here. Anything else you wanted to say for the
No, just once again, freaking awesome game.
Buzzer beater.
Emotional, pulling at the strings. Went from being super angry at the Blazers and annoyed and triggered by everything to jubilation at the end. So credit to them for coming back yet again and getting the job done in the crunch. And credit to all of you for tuning in. We really appreciate all of you. Thank you for all the donations and all the support on the channel. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep. Couple final plugs. Become a channel member by clicking that join button below. Easiest way to support the channel is always just giving streams or videos a like, so we appreciate that. We're at 211. Let's see if we can get 250 before the end of this stream, so definitely hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We do Blazer post-game shows and videos all season long. Once again, thank you to Bet Online for presenting this post-game show. This has been the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Bet Online. Have a good rest of your Monday night. No basketball tomorrow. We'll see you again on Wednesday, though, for the first night of a back-to-back against Charlotte. Hopefully that's a relaxing blowout win for the Blazers, and we can just come in here afterwards and chill. I'm always down to be hyped, but it would be nice to get a relaxing win. Fingers crossed, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, have a good rest of your night. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.